Mira, I'm a saint. Hold on. There we go. How's this? Ritual is integral to both traditional and folk Catholicism. For many, approaching the Catholic faith through a magical lens can make crafting meaningful rituals tricky. Engaging with church-approved materials as a non-church-approved person can be especially painful. Taking the reins from Catholic ritual as a queer, colonized, and/or spiritual person is even harder. I had to find that out alone. I seek to offer you a head start in crafting your own spiritual practices. I hope to offer a skeleton, a ritual structure, to help you navigate Catholic mysticism. Tapping into Catholic mysticism without swinging into hyper-conservatism or vapid woo-woo spirituality is a difficult line to toe. Magic, ritual, and mysticism are nonetheless important components of our spiritual lives. The late Pope Francis is quoted as saying, "A religion without mystics is a philosophy." The ritualized exploration of life's core mysteries is necessary to truly integrate and experience the benefits of spirituality. When it comes to integrated spirituality, we need look no further than folk magic. The nuanced and beautiful braiding of the church, the people, and the land. Folk Catholicism is adaptive, representing the tides of colonization and the resilience of our ancestors. We see their traditions preserved and passed down under the banner of Catholicism. Fragments of the religions our ancestors practiced exist in our seemingly silly traditions, in patron saints, in family curses, and in generational gifts. Those bits of information become portals to ancient wisdom when we ritualize them. That adaptivity isn't locked in the past. Folk Catholicism changes alongside you in order to better reflect you, your culture, and your identities, be they queer or not. A strict adherence to Catholic dogma is not required. This skeleton can be filled in as you see fit. Include the spirits, the divinities, and the practices that best serve you. The most effective ritual is one that has deep meaning to the practitioner. That requirement can be met via a free-spirited, vibes-forward approach, the only downside of which is a general sense of haphazardness. In practice, ritually following the vibes will suffice and can be quite fulfilling. Though, when incorporating Catholicism into a magical practice, or vice versa, structure is needed to deconstruct and reform dogmatic approaches and doctrine effectively. Keenly understanding the prayers used in ritual and the rich tapestry of spiritual thought that they represent can only happen if we know how to incorporate that knowledge into our magic. When crafting a folk Catholic ritual, discernment is paramount. We craft from 3 points: from ancestry, from tradition, and from personal fulfillment. As we explore each of these facets, you'll be required to research, organize, and structure the information that you find.
Gotta switch it up.
You got it. Ancestry, the folk in folk magic, refers to the ancestral technology available to individual practitioners. This technology is typically passed down through families or sourced through genealogical research. Typically, this category, we find things like family traditions, folk remedies, and ancestral religions. The key is discerning what is freely available to you what is earned through study and initiation, and what is strictly off-limit. Tradition includes traditional Catholic technology, like the Rosary, and more cultural traditions. That distinction is capital T tradition and lowercase t tradition, like Day of the Dead. These are often commonplace or easily available. Most Catholic prayers, doctrines, and core theological information are available on the Vatican's website, and that includes the entirety of the Catechism. The entirety of the Catechism, which is basically how to be a Catholic 101. The major difficulty with this third of our equation is deciphering church language. And, of course, combating the mass problematic beliefs held by the Catholic Church. Unpacking and understanding the overwhelming presence of misogyny, homophobia, and the unyielding desire to centralize power within the pulpit is laborious to do alone. I offer a whole course to help with it. It's called Mystic Catechism. Check it out. Call weirdcatholicmystic.com/Kate. That's C-A-T-E, Kate. Our third pillar is personal fulfillment. Typically, it's the starting point and the most important pillar of ritual construction. Personal fulfillment speaks to the sustainability, enjoyment, and frankly, effectiveness of our rituals. The ability and desire to repeat a ritual has direct influence on the effectiveness of your mystical practice. Dopamine is important. Making mysticism fun will also keep you interested in your spirituality. Also in this description is personal need, which I think is often shamed out of discussions like this, but is ultimately deeply important. The practicality of magic is really held within personal need. Petitioning spirits for help is typically the first catalyst for mystical exploration. Everybody needs a hand. Everybody needs a homie hookup. It's just accessible, man. It's important to temper this pillar with the other two. Focusing on our needs exclusively makes for a transactional and self-centered practice. Knowing how to braid your needs with your community and your ancestry is a critical act of compassion. Discernment is really the secret sauce of magic and mysticism here. It's the secret fourth pillar in this braid. Braiding pillars. We love a mixed metaphor. It is truly the most essential of these tenets and is technically not an individual source of ritual inspiration at all. Rather, discernment speaks to our individual ability to absorb and process information critically. It's our ability to tell what is good for us and what isn't. This ability has to be utilized at the forefront of ritual construction as well as in its continued practice. So speaking practically, the steps to ritual construction or really pre-ritual preparations is purpose, figuring out what the fuck you need, research, figuring out where to get that stuff from. Organization is deeply important, determining what is prevalent information and what isn't, and then excluding unnecessary or misaligned information. It's really critical, especially if you're queer and coming at this, because the homophobia is rampant. If you're a woman and want to do magic, that shit's rampant. Misogyny is trash, and you have to be able to recognize it so you can eliminate it and keep the parts that you want. And, really remove the shit that's deeply harmful, not just to you, but all of society. The fourth step here is formulation. Structuring prayers, gestures, and the tools into a fluid and effective ritual. You basically have to do what I'm doing right now and put the shit in order, huh? And then finally, material preparations. This is the boots on the ground kind of moment. The selection and procurement of materials. You got to have what you need, or I guess you don't have it, so you probably didn't need it. And secondly, the consecration or ritual preparation of those materials. If we are talking about Catholic ceremony, the majority of things are blessed, at least very simply with the sign of the cross, if not a full-on exorcism and consecration, as in the case of holy water. Regarding ritual construction as a whole, your blessings can be simple. Again, they can be a gentle touch filled with intention and love, the simple sign of the cross over an icon, a medal, or a plant that you are going to use. Typically, a blessed ritual tool is referred to as a sacramental, not a sacrament, but a sacramental. This includes things like holy water, scapulars, rosaries, etc. All of which are exercised and blessed through lengthy rites rather than simple gestures, though it's hard to pit one over the other. It's really not a contest of supremacy. It's really about like what's most effective for the energy you got and the ritual that you're doing. That preparation acts as a roadmap for your ritual. Now, the process of casting or performing a ritual itself is kind of just in following the steps. Most folk rituals are inspired by either liturgical rituals or folk traditions. For the most part, taking inspiration from church rites provides an excellent skeletal structure, while folk practices amplify and fill out our ritual. You get to determine the balance in your own practice. You get to determine the spiritual influences in your ceremony. Is your ceremony, kid? You'll get the pick. The structure that I have provided here is inspired by Catholic Mass and Spiritist ceremonies combined. Both are actually called masses, so the distinction is mildly annoying to me, but necessary all the same. The goal here isn't for you to follow my structure because I said it. It is for you to think critically about it, transfer it to your practice, and apply it regularly. So this has been a long one. Stick with me. We're talking about it. We got to talk about it. So the basic structure for rituals tend to be comparable across practices and purposes, which is sick because it makes our job a little easier. The steps that I provided here are short. It's 10 steps. To me, every ritual has at least 10 steps. That's it. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. So, step 1. Opening consecration. We have to prepare and bless the space. We have to set the tone. We have to set the vibe for what we are about to do. And that transcends just ritual practice. You gotta fucking set the tone. You gotta have an intention for the shit that you're doing. Or like, why the fuck you doing it? The goal of this step is to bless the space and initiate the ceremony. Step 2 is then protection. The goal of which is to establish and strengthen your spiritual protections in this space. We are entering a liminal space between our world and a spirit world where it might be dangerous, it might be unknown, and this is the space where you would call in protecting spirits or spirit guides or angels like Michael, who's above me but cut out of frame. Step 3 is purification. The goal of which is alignment with our pure and holy spirits. This can be done through fumigation. In most Catholic ceremonies, it is done through the sprinkling of holy water. Now that can be straight holy water from a church blessed by a father. It can be holy water that you made. It can be Florida water. It can be whatever you need it to be. Step 4 is the assertion of intention. You have to establish your purpose, not just to yourself, but to the spirits present, to the universe at will. Step 5 is invocations. It is the intentional and direct summoning of a specific spirit or energy. The goal of which is the inclusion of them in this ritual. This is very much calling God in and asking for their blessing and presence. Is kind of the main thing, but we need to support it with other structures. Step 6 is offerings, and this can be different depending on how Catholic we're getting. Catholic offerings tend to be prayer, acts of service, that kind of thing, whereas if we're taking a more spiritist lens, this can be devotional acts like offering flowers, offering fruit, offering other types of things. Typically, this is also an exchange time. A lot of the thought process behind making offerings is equivalent exchange, in that you are offering your time, your energy, and things that you probably bought with money that you had to earn probably working at a job. And the deep symbolism of sacrificing something in order to gain something is never lost on spirit. The 7th step is petitioning. It is asking spirit for help. This is where you will establish arguments or just give some heartfelt communication, whatever works for you, man. The 8th step is thanks. We're really just appreciating Spirit for their time, their listening ear, the presence that they have given us. Whether or not our petition comes to manifest or comes into reality is not the goal of this step. We're not thanking God for giving us $1 million. We're just being thankful. We're just like being really like cash money about it. Step 9 is ritual communion, which I think is most evident in Catholic Mass. This is the breaking of the bread, the receiving the Eucharist, the going back, the thinking about your sins, etc., etc. That can look different depending on your ceremony, how you feeling, and that kind of thing. A lot of magical traditions that offer things like wine, in this case, would suggest that a sharing of wine is necessary. In ritual practice, that usually looks like pouring a glass of wine specifically, taking a sip of it as like a communion. You are sharing a meal, you're sharing a beverage, you're sharing something with Spirit. It's an intention of unification. Like, you and me we're like this. And 10 is the closing prayer. You gotta end the ceremony. If you had to start something, you gotta end it. If you open a door, you close it behind you. What do you got, a tail? Ultimately, your spiritual practice is your own. Your discernment, your ability to suss out what you like and what you don't is the most paramount thing here. Everything else falls by the wayside. Everything else is a suggestion. Take it or leave it, man. Folk Catholicism is a liberated and adaptive practice. Within this practice, we can reclaim our lost cultural identities, deconstruct the harmful beliefs of the church, and heal ourselves of a great deal of trauma. The freedom of a folk practice is abundant and available to all. Adherence to Catholicism or any organized religion is entirely optional. I encourage only taking what feels good and no more. That is from Catholicism, from any other religion, and from this very video. If you don't mess with this, don't mess with it. No one's asking you to. You are in control. You have full authority to craft a practice that is fulfilling to you. You have no obligation to justify or explain your practice to anyone but yourself. That is all I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I'm Dom. This is Queer Catholic Mystic. We're doing our damn thing here. If you need help crafting a folk practice, please consider subscribing to my page. If you would like to read this full article yourself, it is available on my Substack, the link of which is in the description. Please check out my one-on-one consultations if you are interested in doing this kind of healing work with a guide. Again, if you're interested in Mystic Catechism and learning more about how to craft a full Catholic practice while deconstructing and unpacking the very rich lore of Catholicism, queercatholicmystic.com/Kate. That's CATE. Kate. As always, it's peace I offer you, it's in peace I leave you. Have a wonderful day.